This lesson, you're going to learn how to graph equations in slope-intercept form. What is slope-intercept form? Slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b, for which m represents the slope of your line, and b is going to represent the y-intercept. So in this particular problem, I have y equal to 2x plus 3. So remember, your slope is always in front of x. So that's why they have the slope is 2. And your y-intercept is always being added or subtracted. So to graph, we start by plotting our y-intercept on our graph and then using our slope as directions, because slope is rise over run. Okay, so remember, plot the y-intercept first and then use the slope as directions to find the other point. So in this problem, let me create my graph here. In this problem, I'm going to identify my y-intercept and my slope first, and then I'll graph. So my y-intercept is equal to positive 2, written as an ordered pair. 0 will be in the x position, and 2 will be in the y position. Our slope is equal to 4 over 5, and we know that because 4 over 5 is in x. It's in front of x, excuse me. Second, you're going to plot the y-intercept on the graph. So my y-intercept is at positive 2. So I'm going to go ahead and place that on my graph. Third, I am going to use the slope. So my slope is rise over run. My rise is 4. My run is 5, and they're both positive. So from positive 2, I'm going to go up 4. And then to the right 5. And draw a line through both of my points. And you have the graph of y equal to 4 over 5x plus 2. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own, and then unpause to check your solution. All right, first we identify our y-intercept and our slope. The y-intercept you're going to write as an ordered pair, which is -5. So I'll write it as 0, -5. And my slope, which equals my rise over my run, is -3 over 4. Now you have to place the negative in either the numerator or the denominator. So I am just going to place it in the numerator. Second, we're going to plot the y-intercept. Which is at 0, -5. So if I create my graph here, go down to -5. Third, you're going to use the slope. So our slope is -3 over 4, which is going to tell us to go down 3 and to the right 4. So from that y-intercept, I am going to go down 3 and then to the right 4. My second point ends up being about here. And I draw a line through both points. And you have your graph. Example 2, what is the equation of the line in slope-intercept form? So this time they give you the graph and they want you to write the equation. So y equals mx plus b. The easiest one to find is your y-intercept. So our y-intercept is here. It's where our graph crosses the y-axis and it's crossing at +1. So b, the ordered pair is 0, 1, but we're just going to place 1 in place of b. And then the slope you have to calculate by finding your rides over your run. So here, going from this point to this point, they've already counted for you. You go down 3 and to the right 4, making our slope -3 over 4. So then to write the equation, y equals -3 over 4x plus 1. Go ahead and pause the video and try this one on your own and then unpause to check your solution. So y equals mx plus b is our equation in slope-intercept form. So b is the easiest to find first. That's your y-intercept, which is going to equal, let's see, this point, which is at 0, -2. So our y-intercept is just -2. Our slope we have to find is our rise over our run. Now, it doesn't matter which point you start with. I'm just going to start with my y-intercept. So I'm going to go up 2, making my rise 2, and then to the right, 1, 2, 3. So my slope is +2 over 3. So my equation is y equals 2 over 3x, either plus -2 or -2. The correct simplified version is -2. Example 3 is a little bit harder. They just give you 2 points and they want you to know how can you find the equation of the line passing through the 2 points if neither one of them is the y-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to do what I know how to do. The first things first is I want to label my points. The second thing I want to do after I label my points is I want to calculate the slope. If you recall from the do now, your slope formula is y2 minus y1 all over x2 minus x1. So y2 is 4 minus our y1 of -2. x2 is 3 minus our x1 of -1. I'm then going to rewrite the numerator and the denominator because I have 2 negatives sitting next to each other. I am then going to simplify. And lastly, reduce. The second part is a little tricky. I need one of the points. I'm going to use the positive point. And I need the slope. I am going to plug them in to the slope-intercept form of the equation. And then I'm going to solve for b to figure out what my y-intercept is. Okay, so 3 is your x, 4 is your y. Substitute, so we have 4 equal to 3 over 2 x, which is 3, plus b, and then we'll simplify. So 4 is going to equal 9 over 2 plus b, and we'll subtract 9 over 2 on both sides. So our y-intercept is equal to 4 minus 9 over 2. So that's our y-intercept. So third, we can write our equation. Y equals our slope, which is 3 over 2, x minus 1 over 2, because that is your y-intercept. That's your final equation written in slope-intercept form. So go ahead and pause the video and see if you can do this one on your own, and then unpause to check your solution. So I'm going to label first. Calculate my slope. So 6 minus 4, negative 1 minus 5. We end up with 2 over negative 6, which can be reduced to 1 over negative 3. The second part is the tricky part. You're going to choose one of the points. I like to use the positive point in the slope. You're going to substitute into the slope-intercept form for an equation and solve. So this is x, this is y. So 4 is going to equal our slope, 1 over negative 3, times our x, which is 5, plus b. So 4 is going to equal 5 over negative 3 plus b. So this is what we have. I am going to add. That's the inverse. So 4 plus 5 over 3 is our y-intercept. Get denominators the same. We end up with 12 plus 5 all over 3, which is 17 over 3. So b equals 17 over 3. So in our slope-intercept form, y equals mx plus b. Y equals negative 1 over 3x plus 17 over 3. Now for the application question. It can be found in your textbook on page 53. I'm just going to explain. Allie received a gift card for her local coffee shop. Every time she goes to the shop, she gets a medium coffee. The graph shows the gift card balance at 2 points. How can Allie determine the number of medium coffees she can buy with the gift card if she does not know the original value of the card? Okay, so if she does not know the y-intercept, the starting balance, before she starts to decrease. So the first thing you want to do is interpret the meaning of the 2 points. So the 9.7, after buying 2 coffees, she had $9.70 left on the card because your Y is the gift card balance and your X is the number of medium cups of coffee that she purchases. So you're going to use those 2 points to find the slope and then interpret the meaning of the slope. So if we're calculating the slope, in our numerator, we have the change in the balance, the gift card balance, all over the cups of coffee. So if our slope ends up being negative 2.65, it means that they're taking off $2.65 per cup of coffee for every single cup of coffee that she consumes. So then you're going to use one of the points in the slope to find the y-intercept, and that is going to be what the card is going to start out at. So here, after you plug in the point in your slope, you end up with a y-intercept of 25, which represents the original value of the gift card. And then you have your concept summary here. The slope-intercept form of a line is y equals mx plus b, in which m is going to represent your slope, b is going to represent your y-intercept, and you have an example of 2 different graphs graphed in slope-intercept form. And there's the exit ticket, which is a summary of the entire lesson, for which you'll sketch the graph, you'll identify the slope and the y-intercept, you'll write an equation, and lastly, you'll write an equation of a line passing through 2 points.